Activity funds. What are they? And are there different kinds of activity funds? Activity funds exist for the management of all the money collected at the campus for whatever reason. This may include fundraising, sales of various products, fees, student debt, donations, and so on. There are three types of activity funds. They are campus activity funds. Their account numbers in SFO begin with 1. Student activity funds. Their account numbers in SFO begin with a 2. And other agency funds. Their account numbers in SFO begin with 3. Campus activity funds are the most common type of account. These include various administrative accounts like textbooks, library, and field trips, as well as accounts for certain groups like sports, band, and JROTC. Administrators and school staff determine the expenditure of campus activity funds. Campus activity funds are subject to strict purchasing requirements and only certain vendors may be utilized. This list of vendors may be found on the purchasing portal and is known as contracted vendors by category. Student activity funds are defined as agency funds held by the campus in trust for the organization. These accounts are usually organized as clubs. Examples are chess, debate, and Latin clubs. Also included would be the various grade level accounts in a high school, like the junior or senior classes. Student council and NHS or FFA groups are other examples of student activity accounts. The important factors that determine whether a group may be classified as a student activity account are: the organization has elected officers, the organization or its officers make the spending decisions regarding the funds in the account. The group conducts regular meetings outside of class and school hours. The students, sponsor, principal, and bookkeeper all agree that these requirements are met. Subtle differences may determine whether an account is classified as a campus or a student activity account. Subtle differences may determine whether an account is classified as a campus or a student activity account. A debate club would be a student activity account, whereas the debate team would not. The same would apply for the Spanish club versus the Spanish class. Other agency funds are generally of 3 types. They are hospitality or faculty accounts, humanitarian causes, and scholarship. Let's talk about the tools and resources we use to manage activity funds. The software is first. In 2018, the Fort Worth ISD adopted School Funds Online Software, SFO. SFO is used to record money received and to issue receipts, purchase orders, and checks. It's used to report account activity and balances. It's used primarily by the campus bookkeeper, and it is accessible to sponsors through a sponsor module or sponsor portal. The Activity Funds Manual, or the AFM. The AFM is a combined policy and procedures guide for principals, campus secretaries, and activity account sponsors. It specifies and defines district policies regarding activity funds and establishes the standards to which campuses are held. The Internal Audit Department conducts campus audits based on the procedures found in the AFM. The AFM is updated annually to keep pace with new or changing policies. It is accessible in the district's Document Center under the Business and Finance tab. There are a number of forms which help the campus and the district administer and manage activity funds. These forms are listed and described in the AFM, and originals may be downloaded from the Document Center. They are also available directly from your campus bookkeeper. Many of these forms are actually initiated by you, the sponsor. Handling cash at the campus is an important function of both the campus bookkeeper and the account sponsor. There are 2 methods used to collect money from students or other payers. Direct receipting by the bookkeeper, the school secretary, or high school finance secretary. In this scenario, customers, who may be students or staff or parents or other outside persons or organizations, pay the bookkeeper directly and receive an official school receipt. Receipt books are not permitted on Fort Worth ISD campuses. The only person authorized to issue an official receipt is the campus bookkeeper. Collections by the sponsor or teacher who uses the IFF 107 form. This form is a rigorously controlled cash handling document that is checked out to teachers who have received internal finance training and as approved by the principal. This form is used to collect payments in the classroom or other areas approved by the principal. Teachers must sign for each 107 form. Teachers require students to sign and date the form and enter the amount of their payment in ink. In elementary schools, the teachers may enter all this information for the student. Teachers ensure that students press down on the NCR two-part form and write legibly. Teachers collect money from students, making change as necessary from collected funds, and no receipt is given to the payer. Teachers total the IF-107 form and complete all blanks above the dotted line. Teachers turn into the bookkeeper the IF-107 form and all cash or checks daily on any day that the total collections reach $20 or more. Teachers submit any outstanding IF-107 forms and money on Friday, regardless of the amounts collected on them. The bookkeeper issues official receipts in the teacher's name and completes all spaces on the IF-107 below the dotted line. Teachers may never commingle personal funds with school funds, and teachers must always keep money in a secure location in the classroom. School money should never be taken home. Teachers may not purchase any items from funds collected on a 107, and they may not substitute a personal check for cash. Monies must be turned into the bookkeeper in the same form as received, excluding variations caused by making change, of course. All purchases must be from approved vendors. Any purchases of goods or services from any vendor must begin with a purchase order approved first by the principal and finally by the purchasing department or the buyer. Purchase orders must be created and approved before goods or services are ordered or received at the campus. There are two methods of placing a purchase order when spending from activity funds. First, any purchase order using activity funds will be created within SFO unless the vendor appears on the must-use Munis vendor exception list. This list is published periodically by the purchasing department and distributed to campus bookkeepers. Second, if the vendor appears on this list, the bookkeeper will create the PO within Munis. If the PO is created in SFO, the option exists for the sponsor to create the PO within Sponsor Portal. Obtain Sponsor Portal URL address and instructions from your campus secretary. Whether the sponsor or the bookkeeper creates the PO, after the bookkeeper edits and submits the PO for approval, it moves electronically to the principal, who will approve or reject the PO. When the principal approves the PO, it is forwarded electronically to the purchasing department, where a buyer will either approve or reject the PO. In either case, the PO returns electronically to the bookkeeper. The bookkeeper will post approved POs to the activity account, print the PO, and notify the sponsor of approval. Approved SFO POs require the campus to order the goods or services. This is not done by purchasing. Approved Munis purchase orders are sent to the vendor automatically by purchasing. Fundraising may involve for-profit efforts, not-for-profit sales, the collection of dues or field trip payments, and humanitarian relief efforts or drives. In each case, the campus is proactive in some manner in the solicitation of funds from students, parents, or other outside entities. All fundraising proceeds generated by the school are receipted into an activity fund. Fundraisers and other sales or events of this nature require the approval of the principal by his signing the IF-116 fundraiser form. Your principal may verbally approve of your event in a meeting or conversation, but the approval is not final and official until the principal has signed the IF-116 form. Sponsors request the IF-116 form from the campus bookkeeper. This form is signed for and logged and becomes a controlled document subject to internal audit once it has been issued to the sponsor. Neither you nor the campus bookkeeper should solicit or receive money from any party towards the fundraiser until the principal has approved and signed it. Nor should you check out Form 107 until the fundraiser form has been approved. The IF-116 form is a single-page, two-part form. The top of the form includes a plan. The bottom part of the form is used to recap the results of the fundraiser after the conclusion of the event and all revenues and expenses have been posted. The recap is used by you and the principal to evaluate the results of the event. Both the plan and the recap require the bookkeeper's, and the principal's signatures. Fundraisers are recommended to last no longer than 2 weeks. Some fundraisers might be a season long, however. For example, a school store might be run for a semester at a time, or yearbook sales might take the spring semester to complete. Fundraisers may fall into either of two broad categories. In the first kind, fundraisers such as World's Finest Chocolate involve the purchase of and then the subsequent sale of a product. These types of fundraisers require that your activity account already have sufficient funds to support the purchase of the product, since you may not make purchase commitments that would cause your account to have a negative balance, even for a short period of time. The second kind of fundraiser is used when funds are not available to make a purchase. This type of fundraiser involves the pre-sale of merchandise from some kind of order form. This might be as simple as a campus-generated t-shirt order form, or it could be a vendor-supplied brochure or catalog. In the second type of fundraiser, sales are made with a promise to the customer of future delivery, and money is collected and deposited to the activity account. After the sales period has ended, the sponsor recaps the sales and prepares a purchase order in Sponsor Portal, or requests the bookkeeper to prepare a purchase order from the recap. This might involve requesting a quote from the vendor. You must be careful, however, not to order the merchandise from the vendor until the purchase order has been fully processed and approved by the purchasing department. In general, approach sales by the school and student organizations as taxable, unless the sale falls into an exempt category or the organization is using a tax-free sales day. Exempt items include food sales, that is, food products, including candy and soft drinks, sold during the school day. Food products, including candy and soft drinks, sold outside of the school day if the sales are part of an organization's fundraising drive and net proceeds go back to the organization for its exclusive use. Also exempt are concession stand sales if the sale is part of an organization's fundraising drive and net proceeds go back to the organization for its exclusive use. Annual banquet or other food sale, provided it is not professionally catered and is prepared, served, and sold by the members of the organization. Sales tax is never due on non-taxable food items, that is cookie dough, pizza kits, cheese spreads, fruit, etc. Bakery items like pies, cakes, bagels, muffins, and so on are exempt unless sold with plates or eating utensils. Other exempt items are services like admission tickets to amusement services provided by the school organization, like school plays, carnivals, dances, athletic events, and so on. Car washes, cosmetology services, although products are taxable. Automobile repair, although parts are taxable if they're charged. Other exempt items are things like parking permits, fines and fees, advertising space, gift certificates and passbooks, magazine subscriptions for 6 months or more, rental of real property, that is to say gym or auditoriums. School districts, schools, and bona fide chapters within a school may conduct 2 one-day tax-free sales each calendar year. This designated day may be either the day the items are delivered by the vendor to the school organization or the day the items are delivered to the customer. An example is yearbook sales. Even though orders and money are taken over many days, the book is typically delivered by the vendor to the campus on one day. The delivery date would be the day you designate as your tax-free day. When multiple organizations hold a joint fundraiser, all organizations involved would be using one of their 2 tax-free days. A bona fide chapter is a group of students organized for an activity other than instruction. recognized by the school. It's organized by electing officers and holding meetings. It may include whole grade levels like the senior class, but not be limited to specific classes like English or biology. Other school groups, if they are composed of students and school staff, like the science club or a drama club. When a school, student organization, PTO or PTA, or booster club acts as a sales representative or commissioned sales agent for a for-profit retailer, the for-profit retailer is responsible for the sales tax. As such, the sale cannot qualify for a tax-free sales day. The exception would be catalog and brochure sales of non-taxable items such as cookie dough, fruit, etc. This means the following fundraisers are not tax-free: catalog and brochure sales of books, gift wrap, candy, candles, and other novelty items. Reimbursement for expenses are requested on IF 104 and must be pre-approved by the principal. Reimbursements are limited to $150 per event, not per person per event, and are to be used for emergencies only. Reimbursement requests may not include sales tax except for hospitality account expenses, and they must be accompanied by a signed and dated sales receipt that details the purchase and the sales tax, if any. Reimbursements are not authorized beyond 10 days of the purchase. The reimbursement process must not take the place of normal purchasing policies and procedures. From time to time, it may be necessary to advance funds, either to an employee or to a company with whom we have a purchase order. We should rarely pay for goods or services in advance of receiving them, but some common exceptions are deposits to hold a dance or other event venue and date, dues or registrations, concession stand change banks, book fair change drawers. Advances may also be made to a vendor who will not honor our purchase order, bill us that is, but requires payment at the time of the store visit. Note that we still require a PO internally, whether the vendor accepts it or not. Advances are requested on IFF 103 form and must also be pre-approved by the principal. They are limited to $150 for employees and to the amount of the purchase order for vendors. If you decide to organize or to support a booster club for your organization, there are several factors that you should consider. See your finance secretary and the Activity Funds Manual for more information regarding booster clubs. If you are a coach with responsibility for renting your athletic field or gymnasium, you should be aware of all the procedures associated with these rentals. See your finance secretary for the proper forms and contracts. Facility rental income is posted to the Facility Rentals activity account.